Welcome to today's Explainer. We're jumping right into the FIFA World Cup, and more specifically how the 2026 tournament is poised to literally rewrite the rulebook on how the beautiful game is played, officiated, and experienced all over the globe. Look, the landscape of international football is always evolving, but these upcoming changes, they are absolutely monumental. We are talking about reshaping everything from the structure of the brackets down to the very mechanics of gameplay itself.
5 billion. Seriously, just let that number sink in for a second. That's the estimated number of people who engaged with the 2022 tournament, with about 1.5 billion tuning in just for the final match alone. Think about that. That is nearly half the global population stopping whatever they're doing to focus on a single event. It establishes the World Cup as a phenomenon of unmatched scale and stakes. So, when a tournament has this many eyes on it, even the smallest tweak to the rules is a massive deal in the sporting world.
Here is how we're going to break it all down today. First, the world's biggest stage. 2, a massive 2026 expansion. 3, speeding up the game. 4, evolving tech and VAR. And 5, keeping players safe. Okay, let's kick things off with Section 1, the world's biggest stage. To appreciate where we're going, we kind of need to know where we started, right? International soccer's roots trace all the way back to 1872 with a single challenge match between Scotland and England. Fast forward to 1908, and it's an official Olympic sport. But the game just grew too fast for the Olympics. Driven by the vision of FIFA President Jules Rimet, the very first standalone World Cup launched in 1930. Uruguay had the honor of hosting it, perfectly timed for their centenary of independence. And that moment forever changed global sports. Now here's a pretty wild contrast for you. Since that 1930 kickoff, 23 tournaments have been played, and 84 different national teams have stepped onto the global stage. But guess how many have actually won the prestigious trophy? 8. Just 8 nations. Brazil holds the record with 5 wins, and reigning champs Argentina picked up their 3rd in 2022. It is an incredibly exclusive club. You can make a deep run, sure, but lifting that trophy? That is the absolute, undisputed pinnacle of the sport. Moving on to Section 2, a massive 2026 expansion. The sheer footprint of this tournament is basically exploding. We're jumping from a tightly packed 32 teams in 2022 to a massive 48 teams in 2026. That means 16 brand new slots opening up for emerging football nations. To fit everyone in, we'll have 12 groups of 4, and geographically, it's completely unprecedented. We're going from a single host nation in Qatar to 3 host nations, the US, Canada, and Mexico. That's a massive continent with matches spread out across 16 different cities. So what does this expansion actually mean for us watching at home? Well, it supercharges the best part of the tournament, the knockout stage. 32 out of those 48 teams will advance to the win or go home rounds. Because of this expansion, the knockout bracket alone will have as many teams as the entire 2022 tournament did. It guarantees we're going to see a lot more high-stakes, sudden death tension carrying through way more matches. All right, let's slide into Section 3, speeding up the game. We've all been there, right? Yelling at the TV while a player takes literally a full minute to slowly jog off the pitch or meticulously tie his shoe during a substitution. Well, relief is finally here. Referees are getting strict new timers to kill those notorious time-wasting tactics. We're talking a quick 5-second timer for throw-ins and goal kicks and a 10-second timer for substitutions. If a player wastes time during a sub, the incoming player is forced to wait 1 full minute on the sideline, leaving their team a man down. Ouch. And it gets better. You know the classic move, a guy goes down clutching his ankle, completely killing a counterattack, only to sprint like an Olympic sprinter the second the whistle blows? Yeah, that's done. Now, if the ref stops the game for an injured player, that player has to leave the field and wait at least 1 full minute before coming back. Playing with 10 men against a top-tier international squad for 60 seconds is a terrifying tactical disadvantage. The intent here is just crystal clear. As Fox Sports rules expert Dr. Joe Madnick explains, this forces players to think twice before faking an injury to stall the game. You simply can't risk leaving your defense exposed for a solid minute just to buy a breather. It's a genuinely brilliant way to incentivize honesty, punish those dark arts of time wasting, and just let the game flow naturally. Which brings us to Section 4. Evolving tech and VAR. Quick refresher for the casual fans who maybe don't watch club soccer every single weekend. VAR, or Video Assistant Review, is essentially the digital safety net for the sport's biggest moments. It acts as a background check to make sure games aren't decided by clear and obvious errors, like bad penalty calls, straight red cards, or whether a ball crossed the goal line. It's the eye in the sky meant to protect the integrity of the match. But for 2026, VAR is getting a major promotion. An army of 20 VAR officials will now have the power to differentiate between corner kicks and goal kicks, which, as we know, can totally flip momentum in the final third. More importantly, they can now challenge second yellow cards. This is massive because a second yellow means an automatic ejection that forces a team to play down a man. Plus, they'll be using advanced semi-automated offside technology, making those controversial razor-thin calls way faster and way more accurate. Finally, let's wrap up with Section 5, keeping players safe. Look, playing across North America in the dead of summer, the heat and humidity are going to be absolutely brutal. So to combat exhaustion, officials are baking in mandatory 3-minute cooling off breaks. And crucially, these happen regardless of the daily weather forecast. You'll see them triggered during natural stoppages around the 22-minute mark and again at the 67-minute mark. As Dr. Macknick noted, this basically means soccer will be played in quarters, dramatically changing how coaches have to manage stamina. Speaking of stamina, managing fatigue during those grueling knockout rounds has been addressed head-on. Normally, you get 5 subs. But if a high-stakes knockout match goes into extra time, managers get a bonus 6th substitution. Just picture the drama of the 115th minute, muscles cramping, lungs burning, the pressure of a whole nation resting on their shoulders. That extra sub lets teams bring in fresh legs, keeping the level of play high, and significantly reducing the risk of injuries. So let's take a step back and look at the whole picture. With strict timers punishing time wasters, a huge 40-18 bracket, upgraded VAR, and mandated cooling breaks, we are literally watching a paradigm shift in international soccer. 2026 is going to look and feel fundamentally different, prioritizing pace, fairness, and sheer scale. So what do you think? Will these sweeping changes finally eliminate the game's darkest arts, or will teams just find brand new, creative ways to bend the rules on the world's biggest stage? Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.